YouTube comments from a video titled, "What US Insurance Companies Aren't Telling You, Informer." Part 3.
At H7 Apollo wrote,
These fools have no power if you don't have a phone number. They rely on the brainwashing of the public who spend their own money for spy devices that enable such harassment, aka cell phones.
Atheno Tisserov 13 wrote,
Some people are just too dumb to comprehend why insurance is a scam. Some people just keep paying into it because of it. Some people recognize the benefits of an insurance but can't comprehend the differences between a good insurance and a scam.
At Revik.me wrote,
This video is weird. Worked for some debt collection companies. Not all are like this. This person must have been working for a small-time business utilizing bad practices. A lot of this seems blown out of proportion too, though some is real. Debt collectors are nowhere near the issue. It starts from the source.
At Deadworld 66 wrote,
Sounds like the credit card companies. I owed $1,000 on a defaulted card, and they kept telling me to get a loan, ask family. Even had one tell me to sell blood. Like TF.
At DMelody 2396 wrote,
Just wow, this car insurance/accident/shady collection actions by insurance subrogation employees against individuals should be investigated by the DOJ. That these employees actively lie to people, intimidate them with lies, harass them even when in hospice should be illegal. They should not be getting paid a commission or bonuses for this. These job procedures and pay structure is obviously not going to attract people with good morals, and it seems company policy encourages using fraudulent tactics. This job would only attract immoral people. The insurance companies should be held liable for the actions of their employees and or third-party contractors hired to do this work. This is something the DOJ would have to investigate because individuals can't afford to sue insurance companies.
At Always a Librarian wrote,
The insurance racket in the U.S. is abominable. They don't insure your health, they insure their wealth. That, along with our current political and social debacle, is solidifying our reputation as the most backwards of all first world nations.
and Muted Turnip wrote,
Is there a chance that this person was working for a scam center? Some scams will not even tell workers they are scams because it could actually incriminate them. $30,000 is insane. Doesn't make sense even for such a corrupt system such as American healthcare. Sure, the higher-ups are making millions, but someone calling?
At Chadge 739 wrote,
If we stay a democracy, we never were a democracy. I mean, ever. We are a constitutional republic. In a democracy, 50% in T1% can vote to change the rules for everyone. For instance, in a democracy, as long as over 50% wants it, we could decide that women are property or homosexuality is a crime. Thankfully, we live in a constitutional republic, and the Constitution prevents that. Don't get me wrong, there's always been the ones who choose to only apply the rules when it's convenient, but unfortunately, that's a tale as old as time.
At Kaiju King 123 wrote,
Interesting. Thank you for speaking up. You got a heart and a voice to speak up. I tip my hat to you and others like you, and to Luigi. Although I don't believe in what he did because it would make us worse than the monsters we're trying to fight, I still tip my hat to Luigi as well for sacrificing himself to bring forth change for the better.
At Dr. Mizzen MD wrote,
I'm a family medicine doctor who left clinical medicine for precisely these reasons. We can no longer practice patient-centered medicine. We are overworked, and we are overseen by our corporate overlords, farms/insurance/private equity groups. After the 100th prior auth I had to write just so my patients could get the meds they need to live, I had enough. I started my own business where I help other doctors pave their own new career paths, and I run this YouTube channel where I provide medical legal education to teach patients how to advocate for themselves. I recently posted a video on this topic called "The U.S. Healthcare System Has Collapsed." I think people here will appreciate my vent session. Thank you, Advice, for airing this.
At Zaxter90 wrote,
There's a reason nobody feels bad for that CEO getting popped. We live in a country where rich are rewarded for punishing the poor. I wonder what Marie Antoinette and the French Revolution would have to say about this.
At Leda4688 wrote,
In my country, the total cost on the free healthcare system is $6,894 per capita, 2021 numbers. And this is for everything. US citizen pay $7,739, 2021 numbers, on average in just health insurance. Make it make sense. FYI, I live in one of the most expensive countries in the world.
At Daniel Iglesias 1314 wrote,
When I was struggling with addiction, I was in and out of the ER. I owe about $20,000 of medical debt. I regret those times, but I can't go back and change it.
At Davik750 wrote,
Oh, we all know insurance companies an ethical business practice with taking human lives as collaterals. We just can't prove any of it with crooked two-tier justice system.
At JingleJazz7537 wrote,
I'm Canadian. Never paid a dime in healthcare costs, no premiums, no copays. Care is excellent. Like all systems, it has its problems. One that we don't have is having to argue with an insurance company that we pay hundreds a month in premiums and get denied. And if we are approved, we don't have to pay a deductible. That's called extra billing, and it's illegal in Canada. Create an affordable system made in the USA. Make it happen.
At Mario Marino 4205 wrote,
Americans put people in prison for their crimes. The death penalty is only for serious criminals, and you go to work and vote for it. Why does what happens?
At Volatile Sky wrote,
Heartless, not having any kind of empathy, getting in trouble for being a decent person. Suddenly makes sense how an ex has been working at Allstate ever since she ditched 15 years ago or so.
At By_Good wrote,
And I wonder how many people have taken their own lives due to the stress of financial burdens. What a heartless and cruel thing these insurance companies are. Shame. Shame. Shame.
At Jamie Sprinkbob wrote,
Back in the mid-90s, my mom did basic secretary work for Aetna, and her boss really liked her, so she gave her a promotion to handle customer service. During her training day, she got a call from a woman whose husband lost his job / his insurance, and his unemployment benefits couldn't cover the cost of their insurance. She was 8 months into a very high-risk pregnancy. My mom went to her supervisor, sobbing and begging her to let her make this one exception. And her supervisor straight up told her that if we gave her one exception, then everyone would get one. My mom went back on the phone and was crying, telling her the news. She quit that day de 1609.
Alberto Boyd wrote,
My wife gave up her private practice in the US due to having to battle insurance companies to get paid. After the pandemic, these sleazeballs would offer her 30% of her fee, or just not pay her at all. This is just gonna get worse with Trump taking office again. He's gonna privatize everything, and the criminals will continue denying healthcare and paying their shareholders. We have since moved to the Philippines. Just done with it. Good luck, US.
A socially distanced wrote,
If I don't know a number, I don't answer it. Simple solution and a telemarketer's worst nightmare. So in short, I never have to deal with these issues.
A Kathleen H. RJ1SP wrote,
This is the time of action. We do nothing but stand out in the street holding our hands and demand health care affordable. God forbid anybody has a disease.
A Teacup 1940 wrote,
This should be illegal. Why aren't there any laws against this? Also, why is the US so much against universal health care? I mean, not for free, but there are ways that everybody can get decent health care and not go bankrupt, but still pay a fair share for it. Also, in this interview, it was not clear why they were asking for money. Were they asking people to get new insurance coverage? What type of insurance was involved? Car, house, health, life. The job of the person to me was not clear. What were the tasks? Did the person have to try to sell insurance? Just a bunch of stories with no explanation behind.
A JFQW4BD wrote,
I don't care what anyone says. If we are playing the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, Luigi is a martyr. The knight standing up against the dragon hoarding gold after pillaging and terrorizing the villagers for centuries. The Robin Hood. The Joan of Arc. He is the unlikely and archetypal hero come out of nowhere to speak for and make a sacrifice for the common man. Is vigilante justice bad? Yes, if it only is for one person's or only one group of people's sense of entitlement. But everyone, aside from corporate entities themselves and those that are beholden to them, whether they want to admit it or not, appreciate what Luigi did. Even if they don't agree with the methods, there has never been such a universal support from both sides of the political aisle for anyone as long as I can remember. I will not go so far to call him a saint, but I do know that he was awoken a mass of disgruntled people with a true and genuine sense of right, wrong, and true justice. America, do your best.
At DM8127 wrote,
The rule of law has gotten out of hand. It's all the giant corporate structure firms hiding behind lawyers and walls of technology. Just go to the portal and find it yourself. That is causing commerce to crumble.
A Skunkape319 wrote,
The company I work for is changing insurance provider. I will be paying double what I was for same kind of coverage. Needless to say, I've been job interviewing.
A David Johnson DC8 Lou wrote,
In the UK, the NHS, which is a free public healthcare, was actually started in Wales in the 1940s, I do believe. The community got together and put money in a scheme to ensure everyone got treatment. It was non-profit, and eventually the Gov got interested in it and took it over. This is what America needs again, a community healthcare pot where money goes into a non-profit scheme, but makes sure people can get treatment. It will take something big, radical, and trustworthy to start this up. It should be community-based too. Insurance companies are untrustworthy and have lost the plot. Socialism needs to take over from neoliberal deregulated greed. Bet your bottom dollar when people are paying into a community healthcare scheme, the Gov will take interest. People power. Healthcare is not a charity, but it shouldn't be a business either. It should be a public service. Healthy people can serve their country and economy.
A Stand-Up FYR 805 wrote,
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Oh, you are fundamental rights from the Declaration of Independence. The phrase that reflects the idea that the government is created to protect these rights, which are considered unalienable, and CANNOTBE taken away. United Healthcare took those rights away from their insured, and the government allowed it.
A Freedom Finders wrote,
The federal government, the IRS, the medical/pharmaceutical industry, insurance companies, banks, investment/loan companies, the housing market, and the auto industry all have fostered a climate of extreme greed that tramples over the rest of society. Happy New Year.
At Flow Movement Therapy 2096 wrote,
Clearly, there is a lot that needs to change with the US healthcare system. I'm not sure what it's going to take, but there's a lot that has to happen. There's folks working to change that at the grassroots level. Practitioners are moving away from the insurance model and going their own way to bring better outcomes and work-life balance for themselves. The Honey Badger Project is one of them. Happy to share more about it if you find me on IG.
At Nightly Terror wrote,
Honestly, when I hear stories like this, I can't help but have contempt for the people telling them. This is the kind of thing that should haunt you forever.
At Georgiev 5766 wrote,
The most shocking part of the United Healthcare CEO getting shot wasn't that the shooter got so much support. It was that the system itself cares so little about humans overall, including the CEO BTW, that the meeting he was attending still started on time. Even after learning that a CEO of one of their companies was shot in plain daylight, only a few blocks from them, they were like, oh well. Tough luck for him. So about those numbers. Like not even a moment of silence. Now imagine how little they care about people they don't even know.
At Rahulrajaram 6891 wrote,
Insurance is not the enemy. The true enemy is the medical industry with their insane prices for care. We need to deal with the root cause, and after that, who pays the bill is a moot conversation.
As Shane Caterney, I9L wrote,
When I realized that insurance was a giant scam, I completely stopped paying for health insurance. I shattered my foot and the entire bill cost me $200, where if I had insurance, it would have been over $100,000. I paid out of pocket, and that was the end of it. I saved the $800 I would pay for my family to have insurance, and I invested. It hasn't been a problem at any point. Just consider that homeless people without insurance still get all the treatments they need, and consider that insurance companies are scammers. But the biggest piece of information is knowing that hospitals are nonprofits. They can't deny you they chose to be a nonprofit. It's a giant scam.
At 125 Discipline 2 wrote,
The Western colonial company was operating under the same basic concept. They copy-paste it and use it in the West. Difference is they use mainly soft power to control them, instead of hard power back in colony.
At Markaronside 9818 wrote,
As someone who studied corporate law, this confirms everything I've learned. An unquenchable thirst for money makes these companies force their employees to go beyond constraints to make them as much money. One day these companies will just kill people in the open streets and take it by force. They know they have enough money to fight any regulation or investigation that comes their way.
At Raigi BQ7FV wrote,
This is why they took Luigi out of the news so fast, because the news is owned by the greedy, and they don't want this revolution against their system of power to take place, as it will greatly tip the scales in more than one way on more than one scale.
At One White Cottage Life 770 wrote,
I don't have health or dental or vision insurance. I'll pay to fly overseas to Romania once a year and get all my medical needs covered there for pennies on the dollar. Some people and companies who call me are getting added to my contacts list as do not answer 1, do not answer 2, etc., and I believe that there's a setting that sends certain contacts straight to voicemail.
At Joss 1515 wrote,
Respect for my American neighbors. But you guys should have this national dialogue a long time ago. When a man is shot in the back and most of us are not sympathizing, there is something terribly wrong with your current system and how you are controlled by the elite. Look at the mortgage meltdown years ago. Only one middling person was convicted. The whole woke and day is just another elite ploy to tighten the grip by the elite, to get you the voting plebes to hate the left, which primarily fought for class rights. And also blinded the left with pointless causes that aren't the true issues of the disenfranchised of today. You guys are played so easily with hate.
At True Grit 7697 wrote,
When I was in my 20s, I worked for a bank that gave predatory loans. I was a collector. I remember calling a woman to collect. Her record showed that she had received a lot of calls from us. She was so distraught, I felt sorry for her. Boy, was I in the wrong business. It turned out that her adult son had taken the loan and had later died in a car accident. She was grieving her son, and this bank was coming after her hard for the money. I asked her if she co-signed the loan. She said no. I told her that she had zero responsibility to pay back the loan and that the bank was in the wrong, and advised her to get legal help though. Now I realize she could have just told the bank to F off. This poor woman was literally in tears. I soon quit. I could and would not make money by viciously harassing good people. I wish I could remember the name of the bank. They are probably not in business anymore. I was taught to treat others the way I want to be treated. Mage.
At Vulpeculoden wrote,
If you are paying a company for a service with a genuine claim and they deny it, that is theft, and I truly believe Luigi Mongioni should be pardoned because that CEO was responsible for thousands of deaths.
The Simply in Sound wrote,
I had a debt collector send a threatening letter saying they would put a warrant wage garnishment on me if they didn't have me pay $750 for a mammogram when I had a lump in my chest. A mammogram. I'm still paying it off. Trying to get a hold of them is impossible. So the one time I could get a hold of them, I set auto payments for the smallest amount I could do. It's been over 2 years. I'm still paying it off.
At GG_509 wrote,
If we don't fight to change the food environment in this country, we will never stop needing insurance. It's a vicious cycle. We need to fight for local farmers and for the option to grow our own food.
At Jupiter__ wrote,
Not nearly as awful as debt collection, but I remember working at a place that did cold calling for fundraising for every kind of charity you can imagine. Green, left, right, etc. I lasted 1 day. They literally told us that if someone says I can't give anything, I have cancer, we should assume they were lying. I barely made it through 2 calls before walking out.
At Michael Albrecht LK9UF wrote,
Homeless, not poor enough to get help, not wealthy enough to get by or 5-year waiting list, or wrong color. Mentally ill. Evaluation states you're not ill enough. Labor center work placement. Sorry, we only help illegals, refugees. This is reality. America 2024. No bullshit. Just reference Baker Acts and HIPAA laws are imprisoning people. Be aware your family security. Remember to carry the one.
At Ujib8377 wrote,
Pay insurance on your car, on your house, for your health. The second you need to make a claim on any of the above, they fight you tooth and nail to not fork it over.
Sounds like a scam to me.
At Michael Albrecht LK9UF wrote,
Unlawful but not illegal. Legal but not moral. Revolving chairs can't find perpetrator immunity given by state To court all stations sold OUTTH e-business model has no heart. The watchtower is full of blind, deaf, and numb GOA can write reports in the thousands. No one is listening. All they hear is the cash register and the profit margin. Bells like a casino. And that's business reality. Grieve to nowhere grief and get gang stalked.
At Nero X NH8SE wrote,
Not American. Not saying it is right. But with that kind of corporate greed and how U.S. government are swayed by the rich, no one is going to change the policies, and no one cares for your well-being. What Luigi did was set off a spark for change. For some guy from a wealthy background to do this, you know he has character and knows more about justice than the CEO who died.
At JT Manuel wrote,
Land of the free. U.S. spends trillions in defense and giving money to other countries and illegals, yet they can't provide for their own citizens. And they say Europe, with its free healthcare, is socialist. How ironic.
Coco EU1KN wrote,
As a customer service executive for Heart Center of Oranges, NJ, USA, I can say this is a fact, and also, they will never let go of the patients once they come for the appointment, whether he or she is sick or not. They are being told to come back for follow-up when it's not necessary to, unless they drain all their balance. It's a scam.
M. Seaton 8620 wrote,
I'm suddenly transported to The Incredibles scene where Bob was only trying to help his clients. Like seriously, even Disney tried to warn people what happens to insurance supervisors when enough is enough.
At Albert Re4SD wrote,
In Malaysia, you will only get charged of RM1 for most of the government healthcare services, though the downside is hours of waiting before your turn to finally see the doctor.
At Vintage Balderdash wrote,
The absolute sadism, dominant will of the institution and banality of evil is harrowing. What it looks like to me is the Nazis on lunch break from running the camps. This is the real terrorism. This cannot go on.
At Orion Bala wrote,
I have congenital deviated septum which was mild when I was a kid, but now I can barely breathe through my nose, so I'm fully a mouth breather 24/7, which affects so many things. I was supposed to get a surgery, and the day before, they denied it because the medical codes aligned with rhinoplasty, and they insisted it wasn't medical at all even after the surgeon told them it was.
At Zach Pepper 3582 wrote,
Everybody has to know we are being fooled by the parentheses 1%. They control legislation and are immune to law. Politicians trade stocks with all insider info, but never get arrested, but you could and could go to prison for while cause of that. We are free slaves.
At Liberty Music Ray wrote,
People love to blame shareholders. Shareholders make almost nothing. The CEOs, on the other hand, and the higher-ups. They make bank. Buy a few shares of a company and see what happens. Besides, what do you think your 401k is? It's an investment spread out over tons of companies. People really need to read more.
At Pablo 668 wrote,
Yeah, I'm thinking you guys in the US need a lot more Luigi Mongionis. So many that it makes the current health system there grind to a halt/collapse. It's the only way any of it will change.
Ekant from EC wrote,
Your schools are shooting ranges. Your health insurance is a scam. Your phones are owned and tapped by one company. Your government is one party masquerading as two. America is a dystopian nightmare.
At Melly Pepper wrote,
All these CEOs eat at the same rich restaurants and sleep at the same rich hotels. At the end of the day, all it would take is one man with an AR in the right place and dozens would be gone just like that. Watch how quick we'd have gun reform in this country if that happened.
At Direxchammer 1465 wrote,
Funny lol, I answer telemarketers with the most foul and obscene language I can think of, so I've never had them try to get this far. Guess they deserve it.
At Munchkin wrote,
While tragic, it is the main purpose of any corporation to make money, and increasingly so. This isn't news. If you're working for a company and think it's for the people, you are deluded.
At Phyllis_OR wrote,
The description of the call center sounds like a call center set up to scam people out of money. It's a U.S. version of a telephone scam center. The employees described sound just as ruthless, heartless, and unfeeling.
At Loving Life 4640 wrote,
Hi everyone. I'm so sorry that the insurance companies are like this. It's so unfair to everyone. They are unfair even to doctors. They pay doctors only half of what the doctors are supposed to be paid for a procedure, and sometimes even dentists paying the doctor for a procedure and makes them put in a different code for less payment from the insurance company. It's true.
At DLB4TH wrote,
Fortunately for me, Obamacare made insurance so expensive I cannot afford it. So I do not have to deal with these companies and have no insurance, so I stay healthy.
At AOE 2023 wrote,
This dude is full of crap. ICE is stupid for allowing this to even run on their platform. There are multiple elements that are involved in the insurance industry as well as many other industries. He starts off by giving a half description of subrogation without detailing what the reason for the subrogation. Also, subrogation is when there is liability by another party that needs to be paid for. For example, if you are hit by someone driving a car, well, in order to get your car repaired and your medical bills paid fast, your insurance company may go ahead and pay. But then, your insurance company will sue the other person's insurance company for the cost their driver caused. That's a simple example of subrogation. If he was a debt collector, then there must have been someone who did not have insurance responsible for a claim. This is also common in contractor liability insurance. Nevertheless, this guy is full of crap. Insurance companies are the only reason you can drive without having to worry about someone hitting you and not paying. They also make your cost of healthcare affordable. What's funny is no one ever has a solution. They only have criticism to offer. If you know so much, go start your OWN insurance company and pay all claims. And you will make ALL the money since you know so much.
At Heichpathic 3104 wrote,
America uses tax money to wage wars, spend billions for Ukraine while charging outrageously for the same taxpayers' treatment. At least even though India is not rich as America, our gov provides affordable and free healthcare to its taxpayers and citizens.
At Angelo Tally 8818 wrote,
I used to do this exact job, and I'm not even lying. I felt like the worst person ever. I wanted to die. The people I worked for didn't care about me or anyone else.
A Sticky North wrote,
Anyone who says that the USA is the greatest nation on earth? Show them this. You aren't even in the top 100 now. Goat for being the OG axis of evil nation, though.
At Last Sanitarian wrote,
One time, an sewage pipe busted and flooded my cellar in a block of flats. I was super pissed, so I called insurance to claim repairs. Later, I came with an agreement with the administration of the place, but insurance still went through, the smallest amount. The reason was that they pursue the one responsible for the damage and get additional money to the salary from the number of insurances covered when they can pursue the one responsible. But it's in EU.
At RJ Cookies wrote,
Then our elected leaders scrutinize these people in charge of these companies And that's it. These companies don't care. Their leaders have no remorse for the people. Our leaders do nothing to rein in the people who screw over everyone.
Edugin Flip wrote,
MAGA targets poll workers when they really should go after sociopathic, commission-based insurance adjusters and debt collectors. But no, they continue to play the meat shield against the top vs bottom class conflict that's the true source of destitution and disappointment. Just as the big business GOP wants them to be. Progressives have to likewise generate a populist in order to address this legalized robbery, which in a winner-take-all voting environment means taking over the existing Democrats, not diluting numbers in third parties. There's a reason the leftist candidate, Andrew Yang, achieved a surprising following among otherwise right-wing communities.
Adam Buickvido wrote,
This is pure selfishness. I am not perfect, but I guarantee if your life consists of this or something similarly selfish, your soul will be judged. Hell is very, very real. If you think you can live your life ignorant of your sinful choices and find happiness after death, you are only fooling yourself and are in for a very rude awakening, lasting for eternity.
Ejatudi wrote,
Wonder if cartel bigwigs and such like entities has to whip out their Kaiser car when in need of medical attention. Ya el Chapo car FK the status quo of the insurance company. Dominance.
At Rabbit 763 wrote,
Nothing changes for them because we are already at the state where democratic processes are only maintained for show. The rich use their money to manipulate any system they can afford to. The user is fascist regardless what party is in control. There is no left party, only a far and center right pretending to be left. Corporatism is in full effect.
ActDogs 4961 wrote,
Allegedly, UHC cost my father-in-law his life. Refused treatment that his doctor ordered, and then they, UHC, required him to do a stress test without his oxygen while he was on needed oxygen. Within 3 weeks, he was dead. They need to trust that the doctors know what they're doing. They literally can't do their jobs without it. Clearly, it's about the evil people.
At Fleetwood Marshall 8696 wrote,
If that was one of this person's lowest points in their life, in my opinion, they truly are a massive waste of life by virtue of not having suffered nearly as much as their fellow humans.
At David Philip Morin wrote,
Well, Americans were so concerned about the obvious absurdity of our crappy healthcare system that's for profit, we just elected Trump. I'm sure Trump and the GOP will take care of it. /S This is a problem. American voters know that problems exist, yet vote for the GOP, who will never fix any of it. The people get the government they deserve.
At Jeebuscrust 7372 wrote,
Sorry had to thumbs down. Vice been feeling like the Fox News of the left. What did it for me was that story of a dude that didn't take responsibility for the wreck he did that cost $55,000 and now got his wife involved. Yes, the tactics involved are not cool. But the individual avoiding the issue of his mess up involving all these other players is a bit manipulative. Being insurance companies and their shady tactics are the story of the month, cause info is fed to us so fast companies/news outlets gotta jump on that bandwagon before it becomes irrelevant. Oog TLDR. Tired of places for info painting situations either black/white or right/wrong while ignoring the nuances that put things in the gray area, cause they'll be late to the party.
At Actually Ablaze wrote,
Anyone dealing with debt collection for any kind of debt, not just insurance/medical, should watch this video to understand the techniques these debt collection groups employ. They lie and manipulate and misrepresent your legal rights in an effort to squeeze everything they can out of you. Please research your rights and DONOT engage with debt collectors. Even acknowledging a debt is yours restarts the clock on the time they have to harass you.
At Skipper 3236 wrote,
The thought of being on your literal deathbed and still being harassed by these subhuman freaks is genuinely such a horrifying thought. Like, seriously, imagine you're literally dying and still being asked for money. The world is such an evil place.
At Terex 9992 wrote,
So-called greatest country on earth yet one. Healthcare is not free and ridiculously expensive too. So many are living paycheck to paycheck 3. So many are homeless 4. Education costs are starting students off with hundreds of thousands in debt 5. The ultra-rich keep siphoning money others. Wealth inequality is out of control, it's propaganda, and an illusion feed to make us submissive so they keep getting away with it.
At Reese Ballantyne 830 wrote,
I didn't work for a medical insurance company, but I did work for insurance companies. I worked for G4S/Allied Universal Compliance and Investigation UK. My job was to work on behalf of Square Trade catching people committing fraud. I don't work there anymore. 90% of the people we caught for fraud were legit fraudsters straight away from having phone calls with them and then changing the story every 2 minutes, which sometimes quite funny on how dumb their story was they put into the system. What people Donnie tell you working for insurance companies and places like GS4, the management and staff are fucking useless. Here are some examples. The first month is just a PowerPoint slideshow, which has nothing to do with the job. They try and brainwash their own staff saying your client ends their life on call, you're responsible for it. Which is total bollocks because you're not responsible for people's life. You just work there doing the job. They use manipulation younger works women usually fell for it, to do overtime for free and not pay them for 6 months during probation for it. The job mentally broke me. I nearly had a full-on breakdown. I didn't do overtime because I don't do work for free. And that was the reason why I was let go from G4S. There is also another 10 reasons why they let me go, but I can explain in a private message.
At LYNB 2039 wrote,
Every INSHD be aware and read the Creative AI bill presently before Congress FOR vote. Go to Congress. Dote. GOVDONOT vote FOR this bill. Contact your state reps. DONOT vote FOR this bill.
At Sarek 6473 wrote,
My aunt was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She had to go to a hospital for some procedure. Her DR kept insisting she not allow them to talk her into a biopsy. He had past patients charged $1,000s for unnecessary biopsies. The staff kept hounding her to get one. Finally, one DR at the hospital said it would only be for research to help future cancer patients. He assured her she wouldn't be billed. Charge was $28,000. Fortunately, we had multiple friends and family who were there that day who said they would testify in court that she was lied to. Only then did the hospital drop the charge.
Ishado wrote,
You can say whatever you want about USA, but this is exactly what unregulated capitalism's market for stock company is about. Huge stock companies currently are driven to make more and more profit each year with this nonsense infinite growth, which leads to this.
At Ben Stark 5320 wrote,
Subrogation is one of the grossest things insurance companies do. It's the process of going after any third-party award to recoup what the insurance company paid out. For example, you had a car accident and went to the ER. Typically, your insurance would cover it. If your company does this process, if you get a settlement, they have a right to it. So what if you need that to buy a new car, cover lost work, so on? My insurance does this. Any medical bill for an accident, they hound about it.
At Wansanuvical wrote,
Yup. I don't know how people go to sleep at night that do this to other humans.
like car salespeople. I think I'd be a great car salesperson, but I'd never be able to sleep at night knowing how many people I screwed that day just to gain a buck. I sold my vehicle at a dealership a couple months ago. While I was there was an older lady, I'll say about 70. You can't judge a book by its cover, but I'm going to assume she was not rich. She was there looking for a gently used, as in only a couple years old, small SUV. I heard her tell the salesman that, as they were walking out the door to look at vehicles, I could hear him telling her you'd look really nice in a new Ridgeline, and you can tow and haul all kinds of stuff with it. I grabbed the keys for one. Let's take a look at it, to which she replied, I don't haul/tow and don't have any use for a truck and can't afford it, to which he replied, let's just look anyways. There are options to make the payment work for you. I hope she brought her lube and slash or told him to go F himself and promptly left.
A General Lobster wrote,
Their great-grandchildren will need to survive among the populace, the same population that supports what Luigi did and would do it again in a heartbeat regardless of the consequences. Not the best long-term survival strategy, considering money is just made up and could and has been seashells and beads on a rope in the past.
A Cool Snake 1134 wrote,
My parents just bought a house in an over 55 community, and occasionally, when the development's security calls the township's ambulance service through the volunteer fire department, apparently, it's literally a race between the volunteer fire department ambulance and at least 3 other private ambulance companies to get there first. But the development's security office never calls private ambulance companies, meaning they're listening in on the radio scanners, and it's like lions fighting over a piece of meat for who gets the transport.
At Super Chaoticus wrote,
The vampires running the health insurance companies and the vultures in Congress will learn all the wrong lessons from Luigi's sacrifice. It's going to get a lot worse for them until they finally get it.
At A Realist Life wrote,
When an industry has been around for centuries and a specific company is a mega corporation without a dividend-paying stock, you know they're doing some pretty shady stuff if they still think there is room in a market for growth that's been around forever, and they're already heavily entrenched in.
PS7 YKLTT wrote,
Ironically enough, Pixar of all studios laid this out for us in The Incredibles. If you're only just finding this out, you haven't been paying attention. If you're surprised by ANY of this, you've had the wool pulled over your eyes.
A 77 Mudvayne wrote,
Obamacare got 1 PO in T8 out 5 rating. Call him and ask why. So 15 million new migrants getting free healthcare, and that doesn't piss you off. How many hospitals have closed because they can't refuse anyone and those people don't pay anything back? The hospitals get stuck with the losses, but you guys cry about a bad tip. Why hide your face? You're not credible.
At Matt Richmond 8399 wrote,
It is impossible to remove this rot from society until we have Medicare for all, or whatever you want to call a government-run medical payment structure. Companies will always be incentivized to milk you for everything they can. I hope everyone hating on insurance companies and loving Luigi understands what they should be fighting for to actually fix things.
At Elrose 6807 wrote,
The American healthcare system is the biggest scam in the world. We have to pay to stay alive or just die because we can't afford it. It sickens me to see the cost of medications firsthand from our supplier, and it's insane.
A Toddlander 5017 wrote,
I might have watched if this was from before 3 weeks ago, but not after I hear that gay voice. This person just wants to be special. No, Thasend, you.
At Wicked_Night wrote,
What they aren't willing you. That they don't care about you or your health, just how much money they can milk off you. Health insurance is a scam to tax the poor.
At DCS4219 wrote,
I had a law firm call me. I explained at least 3 times that I wasn't this person, and if they were giving a legal notification over the phone, it was not received, so the notification is illegal. The recording said it was a notice being served to appear to court. I know now from this post that was a lie. By the 3rd call, I literally screamed into the phone, "Listen, girl, I have told you people, this is not X's phone. I know where his firm is, and this number, if on the federal no-call list, and if you clog my phone again with texts or calls, I will turn you in and possibly sue if I can. So quit calling." Now, it worked. I think it was the Fed no-call list that finally got them.
At Richard Sheehan 6983 wrote,
My father tried to tell nearly 70 years ago, but wasn't completely able to completely understand. We need to realize that we do not know all there is to know about the use of money.
At Rational Man wrote,
So the business is so corrupted by money that it's almost justifiable what happens to CEOs of these companies. If it looks like karma and feels like karma,